Pittsburgh now. Didi, there's so many storylines in this game. Where are you focusing?
Well, let's look at the way the Steelers have been running the ball, or actually, Colleen, not running the ball. So over the course of the last 4 weeks, the Steelers have run the ball just 24% of the time. They're passing 76% of the time. In the last 4 weeks, they've rushed for a grand total of 206 yards, and that is against two of the worst five run defenses in the NFL. So we talked about this with the Steelers this week, and offensive coordinator Randy Fichtner was very defensive. He said, you know what, screen passes count as runs in our game plan. But of course, this time of year, in this type of weather, and against a Patriots defense that really has been gashed with the run, especially the last 2 weeks, you'd have to think the Steelers would try something a little different. In fact, Patriots safety Devin McCourty said to me, we fully expect the Steelers to test our run defense. He said that's the way the NFL works. But here's the caveat. We don't know if James Conner will be able to go for the Steelers. He didn't play last week. He didn't practice that week. He was officially listed as limited yesterday. It's not looking particularly good. I will leave you with one thing, though, Colleen. You can see the rain out here. It's supposed to rain all day, all tomorrow morning, too. The forecast, says hopefully the weather will stop before kickoff.
Your germs are traveling, Reggie. She's got your cold.
Everybody has it right now this time. That's how you know it's week 15 Everybody has that cough. Don't worry. Get warm. Put on a jacket. Another jacket, maybe.
Wish that on me, y'all.
Thanks, Aditi. Well, Pittsburgh picked an awful time to have a losing streak. Yeah, I know. But geez,
order me a Z-Pack, please, for 2.
What's the biggest problem for this team?
I don't see a whole lot of problems. I mean, there's been a lot of close games here. I mean, look, the biggest problem is they don't have Le'Veon Bell, right? I mean, that's the biggest problem. You saw the difference in this offense.
Pay that man.
Without Bell. Well, it's a little late for that, by the way.
But I'm still say it, though.
Yeah, but you see the way defenses react when he's in there, Bart. You see it. You see you got the one more guy in the box. Listen, James Conner's done a great job, but he hasn't faced the same fronts that they face with Le'Veon Bell, and that also creates things for the receivers and everybody else downfield. That's the only thing I would say is their biggest problem. I still think it's a team that if they get right here, is a team to reckon with here.
But it's tough for them to get right because they are always in their own way. And so right now, like you said, the run game has been the biggest issue. Didi talked about it.
I can't believe they couldn't run last week against the Raiders.
They could. They just
31st against the run. Right.
Run, at least attempt to run the football to give the illusion to the defense that we're not just going to sit back and throw the football 40, 50 times a game. And Big Ben has been throwing interceptions, so that's also been a problem. But I think it's also been disciplinary issues. There's always disciplinary issues with this team. They're always the most talented team on paper, and usually some way, shape, or form, they self-implode, right? And so you have Big Ben coming out, throwing his teammates under the bus. Literally, it seemed like everybody on the offense. And then also at the same time defending himself, saying that he earned that right. Well, what right have you earned to throw your teammates under the bus? So I just feel like it's always things like that cause them to self-implode. And if you're the one that's calling out people, you better be squeaky clean. You better not be out there throwing interceptions.
Attitude reflect leadership. I tell you what, it's going to be interesting to see because we heard the same narrative with the Minnesota Vikings, right? And what did DiFilippo do? Oh, you want us to run the ball. Oh, here you go. So now if you feel like, okay, I need balance, you want to run the ball. Stephen Ridley's out there. He's jacked up on Mountain Dew. He's all in vogue.
I know.
He said, I've circled this one. And what happens when you fight for those extra yards, Reggie? That's when the fumbles and turnovers happen. And that's what's happening. You can't give up extra opportunities to the opposing offense and put your defense in a bad situation. They're going to have to play complementary football. The Patriots, over the years, they don't beat themselves. So you can't come out there and make mistakes and give Tom Brady an extra bite at the apple. You know, and the thing is, you talk about the weather. Well, Tom Brady's a bad weather quarterback as well. So Ben's going to have to make sure he gets the ball out of his hands and make sure that I think the last quarterback with the ball is going to win the game.
Oh, it's going to be a close one. It's going to come down to the very last second. And Ben Roethlisberger, too, I was impressed with the way, though, that he played last week in terms of not turning the ball over. I mean, he only had about 4 incompletions in that game. The
Raiders.
I know. Listen, I'm just trying to make it nicer for the Steelers right now. But
he probably should have played a little bit more, by the way.
A little bit. All right, let's move on to this.